Hello and welcome to the 21st episode of the Meet the Entrepreneur podcast. This is ARTEEN ZAHIRI, and I am the co-host of this feature along with RUMEER KESHWANI and ELHAM CHOWDHURY. Today we are speaking with Alexander Marohnic, founder and CEO of Tranquilease Premium CBD. Tranquilease provides quality, natural, and sustainable CBD flower to customers across the United States.
I discovered CBD kind of when I was, I think I was in my first year of college. And it's helped me a lot with anxiety and stuff. So this past January was when I submitted the documents to form the LLC. And basically my goal behind Tranquilease is to introduce as many people as possible as I can to CBD because of how specifically beneficial it's been to me. And I know a lot of other people that it's helped with, things like arthritis pain or anxiety, just chronic physical pain, stuff like that. And we're still not allowed to make any health claims because it hasn't been approved by the FDA for anything. But a lot of people have found, really helpful uses for it. So that's the mission behind it, is to get as many people introduced to it as I can. Yeah.
That's awesome. And what was interesting about your background is, you kind of didn't have like a formal kind of background into starting your own business, like work experience. What was it like for you? I guess, when did you know that you wanted to be, an entrepreneur instead of going through the more traditional route of like college and then work in the industry first?
Right. Well, I've always kind of known that I wanted to do that. I think like a lot of other entrepreneurs, I had like small entrepreneurial ventures when I was growing up. I remember when I was like probably six or seven, I sold at my parents' house. We lived in Santa Monica, and they had these like quartz rocks, just like in the garden. And so what I would do is I would like break them open and I would sell them on the street, and I made like $30, I think, in one day. So I've always been, into doing that. I've always been kind of a person that wants to be my own boss and like wants to decide the way I do things, the way I work and stuff like that. So it's always been kind of a natural, thing for me. It's been something that I've always wanted. And I did work last year. I was a retail supervisor for like 9 months, and it gave me some valuable experience. I met my store manager is actually a great guy who I, thankfully I have a contact with him now, but it just wasn't for me, like, not being able to be in control of my schedule and not choosing the days I worked and how much I worked. And also, there were always things where I wanted to go farther with the job. Like I wanted to take it farther. I wanted to like implement new things, new programs. But it just, it wasn't my place as a supervisor to do that. So being an entrepreneur, it's given me the freedom to set up the business the way I want to set it up, and cater to customers the way I want to cater to them. So, and also to make my own schedule. Yeah. So it's been awesome.
I really like that. I think a lot of us like can relate to having like early phases of just like entrepreneurship. Like I definitely had like a lemonade stand phase, like, and like a selling candy like at a shoebox like phase as well. Like I think it's just like something that you see in like a lot of people who found companies or like work at startups and kind of have that kind of drive. What do you think what do you think about kind of like owning something and like starting it, and like you kind of went over like a couple reasons of like why you decided to do it.
Yeah.
But where do you think like you can take this thing, and like what's like the overall vision for the company?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it definitely changes over time. You kind of started with an ideal way of how I wanted it to turn out, and of course, just circumstances say like I have to change it, I have to do this, I have to pivot, change, add products to sell, change the products that I'm selling, whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. I guess at the beginning I kind of wanted it to, eventually I saw myself maybe turning it into a company where I did like some kind of other nutraceuticals or pharmaceuticals. Basically, my goal is to set out to help people with CBD in whatever ways I can. And in the future, if that involves, maybe bringing on somebody who's like a pharmacist or a doctor, or somebody who can kind of bring, modern technology to it to somehow create a new product. That was an idea that I had at the beginning and something that I still would like to pursue.
So just a quick follow-up, like, do you think that you would want to take Tranquilease like more of like, you're talking about like doctors and pharmacists, like, do you think you want to take it more of like kind of like organizing a treatment around like something, or like doing like specific like healings or like diagnoses like that?
I
Or
would
do you
like to,
think that
yeah,
you would take it like the other way, where it's like you're just kind of focused on like ease of access and like finding the right medium to
right,
actually like communicate, like make it easy for people to understand, like you said, just expose as many people who want to get
right.
involved or who are interested to actually do that. So I feel like there's like two routes there. I'm just
Yeah.
curious, like, which one you think you would want to lean more towards.
Yeah, I mean, definitely now, because I don't have the capital to bring on anyone else. I'm definitely focused on just, introducing people to CBD. Um, and but in the future, I would like to kind of maybe focus on, um, creating new products and using CBD as, a treatment for maybe mental illnesses, for example. That's something that I would like to explore in the future for sure. But I don't have the expertise, just as an entrepreneur, as a businessman. I don't have like the medical expertise to do that. So I would have to
But it's
bring.
good, like you kind of have like an idea of like how to get things started
Right.
now, and then like you have like a goal that you want to hit like in the future. Like that's really important. Like
Exactly.
kind of like a
Yeah,
guiding star.
that's like my dream in the future is to be able to help people in that way by creating new pharmaceutical products, I guess. Yeah.
That's really cool. That's
Yeah.
strong.
Awesome. Now, like in terms of your products, are you growing that in-house or are you outsourcing it? How does that work?
So yeah, so I actually source from a farm in Vermont, which is my home state. Um, and actually the way I started is because I was just looking for it because I use it myself, right? I use a CBD flower is what I sell. One of the main things I sell. And so I used that myself for a long time, and I still do. And I was looking for an affordable option. And down here in South Florida, I found that number one, the options were really limited. Like the brands were really limited. It was really expensive, and it was pretty low quality. Um, so two of the main things that I sought out to fix for people was I wanted to bring much higher quality stuff, and I wanted to bring it at a more affordable price. Especially because I know how important it can be for people and how helpful it can be. You know what I mean? I don't want price to be too much of a barrier for people. Um, yeah, yeah.
Cool. And I also saw that, outside of CBD, you guys are exploring Delta 8
Yeah.
And other products. So if you could give a walkthrough of what Delta 8 is. I don't think a lot of people are familiar with what Delta 8 is. I think would you say it's like a relatively new product?
It's very new, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not positive if it's synthetic or if it's naturally derived, but it's a chemical that's derived from hemp. And so basically, some states have made it illegal, and Florida is one of the states that's actually like protected it with a law. They said yes, all hemp derived products are legal because of the 2018 Farm Bill. Which made CBD and which made hemp legal and CBD by de facto legal because CBD is contained in hemp. And yeah, so Delta 8 is it's a product that's derived from hemp, and it does produce like a psychoactive effect. So it does produce a mild high, and that's a product that's more geared towards people who, it's kind of like alcohol. It's a product that's designed for people to relax and for people to use at a club or an event or a party or whatever. And with introducing the Delta 8 products, I wanted to kind of broaden my the customers who I serve, because CBD flower is it's a very niche area. A lot of people that use CBD, they use oils instead, and gummies and stuff like that. but that stuff can be kind of like hard to manufacture when, you know, when you're starting out small. So CBD flower is really what I focused on, because it's much easier to kind of, you know, bag it and brand the bag and stuff without having to do all this extraction of oil and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's really insightful. And obviously, Alexander, starting a business, you have to wear a lot of different hats, especially for you, because
Oh yeah.
essentially you're like a one-man operation.
Yeah.
What are some challenges, whether it be with, you know, like marketing, getting your name out there, or even going through, you know, legal loopholes and working with different distributors? What are some challenges that have come up
Right.
that, you know, you've had to overcome or have been, you know, particularly difficult to deal with?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. There's a ton of stuff that CBD brand owners have to deal with when it comes to legalities. So obviously, there's the first thing, you know, with any company, you got to form your LLC or whatever, you know, structure you choose for your company, so you're protected as an individual. And then as far as the CBD goes, so there's several restrictions and regulations that I've had to overcome. So the first one would be, each state has different laws for CBD. So at the beginning, when I was deciding, you know, I want to move beyond just delivery within my local area, I want to do e-commerce. So I had to research each state and find out what their laws were and read all the laws on their websites and stuff like that. And it had to do with stuff like, you know, packaging, what has to be on the packaging, like codes, a QR code, you know, a serving table, stuff like that. And then some states don't have any regulations at all. So it's very much a patchwork of, you know, rules that you have to kind of delve into and figure out. And then, yeah, like you said, I've worn a lot of different hats. You know, I do SEO, I do the social media advertising, I do, you know, selling, marketing, business management, it's everything. So yeah. But as far as the advertising goes, there's also some restrictions when it comes to CBD. So Google, um, Bing, Facebook, and Instagram and Snapchat, none of those platforms allow advertisements for CBD. So, and it includes, like, I think the only products you can advertise on a couple of those platforms are like topical products, like creams, bath bombs, ointments, stuff like that. But you can't advertise any ingestible products. So that's something that I've faced. I've had to focus a lot on SEO and bringing in organic traffic. I've had to do, you know, like create backlinks for my website to get a better ranking in Google search. I've got a lot of my business actually from Google My Business profile. So like when you look up like restaurants near me, you get the business listings right from Google. So that's what I've got a lot of my business from. I get like 6,000 views a month from that, which is way more than my website gets. So yeah, so that's very valuable for me.
Yeah, definitely a lot of restrictions in this, you know, in this space that make it
Right.
really difficult to get that traffic, especially inorganically. And I guess like a lot of this comes with, you know, like built-in biases, controversies towards, I guess, like CBD and, you know, just like THC and cannabis as a whole, really. You know, for obviously this is something that's, you know, very important to you personally, I guess. Maybe giving you like the opportunity to speak, you know, broadly about like the benefits of CBD and maybe debunking some of like the myths and you know, concerns around it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not a doctor or a researcher, but I can definitely speak to some of the research that I've read about. Um, what was the first part of your question again?
Just like what like somebody, at least speaking on your personal experience, like the benefits of it, you know,
Hmm,
why you want to promote it and kind
yeah,
of debunking some of the
right.
misconceptions and, you know, controversies around it.
That's right. Yeah, so actually, I was really surprised. Reddit is actually another place where you're not allowed to advertise it. It falls under their, I think it's like illegal or illicit, like recreational drugs, which anybody who's tried CBD, you know, knows that it doesn't make you high. So it's a bit ridiculous, but you know, it's unregulated technically by the FDA. So you know, I understand their hesitancy to kind of get into that market, but they do advertise alcohol, which, has definitely is known to be, detrimental to your body and your physical mental health. So it's a bit strange, but I definitely hope that's going to change in the near future, especially as more states legalize. I think the big thing that is going to be federal legalization, because I think a lot of companies, they have contracts with their insurance companies and whatnot, and they don't want to, it makes things pretty complicated for them legal wise. So yeah, but in terms of the benefits of CBD, I can only speak from my perspective with anxiety. It definitely helps with that. I know a lot of people have found help with stuff like I mentioned, arthritis. My partner's mother takes my CBD, and she says she has a rheumatoid arthritis in her hands, and she says that it's like the only thing that's helped her. So that's great to hear. Like, whether or not it's approved by the FDA to treat that, if that's the only thing that helps her, it's great. I've heard that it helps chronic pain. There's a lot of stuff that I don't have personal experience with, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
I think it's great that more people can be exposed to it. Yeah, and I guess with that, what are some of the easiest ways for listeners or viewers to find your products? I know you're on like social media, but what are some easy ways they can find and get access to it?
Yeah, I have all my products on my website. So if you go to tranquileaseherbs.com, so it's just tranquil, the word, ease, the word EASE, and then herbs.com. I have all my products there. I have my in-house Tranquilease brand CBD flower, which it's very high quality. And then I have a lot of Delta 8 products. I have some just CBD products that don't have any THC in them. Yeah, like I got honey sticks, gummies, mints, oils, tinctures, topicals, bath bombs, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Kind of wanted to get your thoughts on like the federal legalization of marijuana. So like, what do you think that timeline looks like? Is it next 5 years, next 10 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. It's tough to say. I don't really follow politics a lot, just because it can be kind of everyone has their opinion, and there's there's different outlets, and they're all they have their own opinion. But I don't know. It's hard to say with the Supreme Court being as conservative as it is, and we just had Roe v. Wade overturned. Who knows if gay marriage is going to get overturned next? And legalization of marijuana is something that kind of has traditionally fallen on the side of liberals and progressives. That's been something that they've championed as opposed to the conservatives. But it's actually interesting because there's a lot of states where that are conservative majority. They have a majority of voters that are conservative, but yet the voters they've done polls and they still want to legalize marijuana. So there's still a lot of conservatives that actually want to legalize it. So as far as whether or not the conservative politicians will listen to their voters, it's tough to say, but I certainly hope so. If the country is, if politics continue to go the way they're going, I would hope for it to be legalized certainly within the next 5 years. But it's tough to say. It's tough to say for sure. Yeah, definitely. As far as public opinion goes, it's very popular. It's very popular to legalize it. Yeah.
And I just have like a fun question, I guess.
Yeah.
If like you like had to work in another area, or like you were doing anything else, like what else would you be doing, or like what do you think you would be doing after you like grow this to your satisfaction?
Right. So like what kind of plans do I have for the future?
Yeah, or like, do you have like any other like side interests or like other
Absolutely.
like ideas that you're working on that you potentially think could be interesting, stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, I'm a huge music fan. I've been playing music since I was um, probably like 4 years old. My parents made me get lessons, which, it was annoying for me back then to have to practice, but now I'm glad to have the skills. And singing has been something that I've specifically focused on, because I learned to play guitar, piano, but I've focused on singing. That's been a personal passion of mine. And I've actually started a TikTok page for my singing that I hope to grow the follower base. I hope to grow the follower base of that so I can potentially advertise my CBD brand on there.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
why don't you shout out your TikTok so that
Yeah,
people
actually, I think
can follow it.
let me make sure I got the handle right here.
That's
I
really
think it's
cool. It's really cool that you seem to be like a huge music buff and like you've been playing instruments like pretty much your whole life.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I don't know, man. Hear any new music lately? Thoughts on the new Drake album?
I don't
Yeah.
actually keep up with a lot of pop music. I yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I mean I hear a song on the radio that I like, or I hear a song on Spotify or somebody else listening to it. I'm like, oh, that's a good song. But in general, I don't like, keep up with new releases for pop. I'm a big jazz guy. I like, kind of classic rock, classic folk, like John Denver, Kenny Loggins, America, the band, stuff like that. But
Nice. Nice.
yeah, my TikTok is it's Alexander Marohnic 5. So it's going to be Alexander, it's just spelled normally, and then my last name is spelled Marohnic, and just the number 5. So Alexander Marohnic 5. Yeah, I just started it, so I've only got 4 videos, but I'm growing it. That's how everything starts,
Yeah,
Yeah.
start at
Exactly.
0. No,
Everything from the ground up.
we'll flash that on the screen on the video. Same thing with your website too.
Awesome.
No, but this has been a really interesting conversation. I definitely think. I mean, I would hope that just given how like the polls show, like American voters on both sides really want, legalization of cannabis federally. Hopefully it will get there sooner than later, but you never know because it seems like we're moving backwards on many key issues. But I think that would be huge for the industry. Last few minutes here, Alexander, just from my previous conversation with you, something I thought was really unique about you was like a lot of international experience,
Mhm.
spending time and living in different countries. Curious if you could talk a little bit about that, and if anything from like any of your experiences, in Russia or elsewhere, kind of gave you any inspiration or influence with kind of your business goals.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think it did. So yeah, I've traveled. I lived in Russia for 4 months. I did a gap year before I went to college, University of Vermont. Um, and that was an amazing experience. Really amazing to kind of, because we have, U.S. and Russia, and there's always these tensions between our countries. So it was definitely interesting to see people's personal views. Um, yeah, traveling around Europe and stuff. I definitely, one of my other long-term goals for my business has been kind of to open up, to start selling CBD in Europe. That I think that would be awesome. There are some brands that are already getting into that, and actually a CBD brand that's local to Hollywood, Florida, is doing that as well. But yeah, I mean, like I said, my goal is to get as many people to try CBD as I can, because I think there's a lot of people out there that would benefit from it that haven't even tried it yet because of stigma or whatever. And so to get that into another region like Europe would be awesome too. And it would be a great experience for me as well to learn, like, how how a business operates in another country, because I'm only experienced insofar as operating a business in the US, but not internationally yet.
I just have a quick question. Is
Yeah.
like there like a CBD market in Europe right now? Like I know that they have like a totally different like drug treatment than the US, but I'm like totally I never thought about it before.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as cannabis goes, Europe is kind of like a patchwork of laws, similar to the States. So some states have I think some states have fully recreational now, full recreational legality. A lot of states have legal cannabis or medical cannabis, and a lot of countries there allow CBD. But in general, I think the CBD has to be contain less than 0.2% of THC, which is different in the US. It has to contain 0.3%. So it's a little bit more stringent in terms of the THC level, which can be difficult for me because, you know, with flower, you don't always know how it's going to turn out when it gets grown. You know, it could be the THC content could be too high, and then the farmer would be forced to destroy their crops. But yeah, it's definitely a market that I want to get into, and it's a market that other companies have already entered. So, yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to Meet the Entrepreneur. Be sure to follow Startup Society to stay on top of the most exciting startups in the country striving to keep the American dream alive. Until next time, take care.